Can any Pacers win an award this year? We'll talk about them all, from MVP down to Coach of the Year and everything in between, including the award that I think the Pacers have the most likely chance at this year. It's all coming today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Congrats. You made it through the week, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes, and today we're back after our once-a-week day off here in August to talk about awards, something I like to dive into during the offseason. Check what the betting markets say. Do I agree with them? Do I not agree with them? Can any Pacers sneak in, not even sneak in some cases this year, and win any awards? Of course, their last actual true award winner being Victor Oladipo's Most Improved trophy, and that is the Pacers Award. They have several Most Improveds in their franchise history, and boy, oh boy, are we going to talk a lot about Most Improved today, but everything. We'll get to every single major award, except for Clutch Player of the Year, because who cares? It's just clutch, small sample randomness, and we'll go top to bottom on these. We will start, of course, with the big one, MVP. This seems silly. Some of you listening might say, why are you talking about MVP? Pacers don't have a chance at the MVP, do they? Right? Well, I mean, probably not. Last year, the level Tyrese Haliburton has hit at his peak, if he could hit that for 82 games, yeah, he'd have a case, right? People were making the should Tyrese be in the MVP conversation at the start of the 2023-24 season. He has not done it for a full year. And, of course, he's not playing this coming season. And no one else on the Pacers feels like they're in that mix. Humor me for the next couple minutes to really put a bow on this. Let's talk about Pascal Siakam, right? He has been in his career a top 10 MVP finisher, not tied for top 10, like got a third place vote and got 2 points with a bunch of other guys. Like legit, I think he had 27 voting points, 10th place in 2022. Not saying he's going to win the award. But like legitimately was at that level after Kawhi left Toronto. Might have been 2021. I can't remember. But he finished top 10, real MVP votes, right? What does this actually look like? He is the only Pacer listed if you go through FanDuel's odds for MVP. He's the only player even on the board. They're astronomically low odds. There's like 40 guys listed. He's the lowest. So could he win MVP? Look, probably not, right? Be real. But Basketball Reference, they did it. The rosters are settled enough that they put out their projections for player stats and I believe team stats for the coming season. And for Pascal Siakam, and this is a lot of like data-based analysis by Basketball Reference, but it's kind of based on what a team will be next year and like a typical age of a player and stuff like that. They list Siakam's projected stats at 22.4 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 4.2 assists per game. So a slight climb in assists from last year and rebound scoring about the same. Right, if you jump back to last season, and this was the case I made for Siakam's All-Star case last year, is like that is a rare combo of things to hit. That's good scoring, pretty good rebounding, and decent enough assists. Only 8 guys hit that last year. 2 of them were Embiid and Zion. 6 guys hit it and played like real games, real minutes, right? And Siakam was in that mix of guys. So, like, in theory, it sounds like a nice, well-rounded resume. Maybe if he really defends well and the Pacers win 60 games or something, like, yeah, he's in the mix for something. The problem is 3 of the guys who hit that threshold are Giannis, Jokic, and Luka Doncic, who, like, throttle half the stats, right? Like, they're at 30 points a game and 10 boards and 7 assists, and it's not even close. So just hitting those thresholds isn't enough. And the year I mentioned where Siakam finished 10th in MVP in 2020, he hit basically about those stats, right? In more minutes. I don't expect him to play more minutes than last year for the Pacers season upcoming. So while he is on the board, I don't actually expect that he'll be in the mix. Can anyone else on the Pacers win MVP? Nah, probably not. In the last 20 years, did you know this? In the last 20 years of the NBA, 2 players have MVP trophies with less than 25 points a game. One was Steph's first MVP, the pre-unanimous one. And the other one was Steve Nash, who obviously did a lot of other things very well. And both those guys truly identity setters for their team. So if Siakam doesn't hit 25 or the Pacers aren't just terrific, it's probably not happening. So for anyone else together that have to hit 25 points a game, seems like Mathurin's probably the only guy with a chance at that. And he is not going to be an MVP candidate. So I would guess no there. As that pertains to the other accolades that come with being a stud player, All-NBA and All-Star. Yeah, these are possible for any Pacer, really, but particularly like the guys who will put up the most numbers. Siakam obviously was an All-Star last year, and it's really interesting looking back because people will say Haliburton had a better season by the end. I argued that they were close for MVP, and I gave it to Haliburton, but by the time All-Star voting happened, clearly Siakam was the guy who deserved it, right? The Pacers had whatever record they had at the time of All-Star. They were like 6th in the East or something. And Siakam had been their most consistent performer by far, even though Haliburton's peaks were higher. If he plays like that again and the Pacers are in the mix for stuff, people always say, well, they got to get somebody if they're top 8, top 6, whatever. If they're hanging around record-wise, he's got a shot. Like he already did it last year. And the East is worse. The competition is worse. So I think it's possible he's in the mix there. All-NBA is a different feat because it's both conferences. It's no positions anymore. So you got to be a dude level guy to do it. And Siakam I made the case last year. I made it at the beginning of this with the statistical stuff that he does. I think it requires the Pacers being really good. And that's probably the harder part is that they won't on paper be as good of a team as last year. So they have to, if they win enough that Siakam is on that level, it's certainly possible because he projects to be their best player this year. If Mathurin hits a scoring number, some fans think he can. I think he can get to that 20 mark easily. Can he blow past it? It'll be tough. He was at 30 minutes a game last year and got 16 points a game. Obviously, his usage will change and be more involved this year. Could he hit all-star level? I mean, if everything clicks for him, yeah, it's possible, certainly. All-NBA seems out of the question. I would put low odds on anybody really reaching that threshold. Even Siakam's going to have a harder time just given the team changes of dynamic that the Pacers are going to go through, even though he did it last year. He's clearly good enough for it, right? And last year, he totally earned it. Fantastic consistency all season. And if he hits those numbers, he'll be in the mix. But is he actually going to win MVP? Probably not. So let me start with this. There were 2 awards that I thought I'm going to spend the longest time talking about because I think the Pacers have the best chance at them. The one I thought the Pacers had the best chance at before I even started this, my null hypothesis was 6th man of the year. And specifically, and I'm going to talk about it now, Obi Toppin would be the guy. And the sportsbooks say I'm a dummy. And I bet most of you immediately, now that I said that, know what the natural award is for that Pacers have the best odds at. It's the Pacers award. And we'll get to that to start the second segment. But the reason I thought this is think about usually who wins 6th man of the year. Last year, Peyton Pritchard, for example, actually fits a lot of these categories, right? They're a guy who does come off the bench. That's true. But they play a lot of minutes, oftentimes more than some other starters on their team. And they close games a lot of the time. Peyton Pritchard certainly did at times for the Celtics last year. Or they play a lot of big moments for that team, like Quickly and Brogdon 2 years ago. I mean, it's just how it goes. And so if you go to the sports books, McConnell has the best odds of any Pacer at FanDuel for 6 man of the year. He's 9th. The only other guy on the board for the Pacers is actually the guy that when I started going through this and listed what I thought they'd have a chance at, I thought Obi Toppin 6th man of the year is what I would immediately have thought would be their best odds thing. Right? He, last year, played less than 20 minutes a game in his different role, but over 10 points, career high rebounding, right? Just clearly improving as a player. His shot actually was worse than the year before. If he ups his 3-point percentage a little bit, some of those numbers go up. The difference being, I have made the case many times and in many conversations on this podcast said, there's not even a chance. Like, right now, the projection would be that Obi Toppin and Siakam together is the best front court the Pacers have. Doesn't matter who the other center is, who the starter, who the bench guy is. And so it's possible Toppin's minutes, if the Pacers are winning a lot or they want to throw their best lineup out in closing time, go up. And he plays more, and he plays some center, and he plays some 5. When they turned their season around in December last season, obviously they traded for Thomas Bryant, and that changed the Pacers center rotation a little bit. But Toppin was playing quite a bit of 5, backing up Turner in games Turner missed when Toppin wasn't ready to go yet. And he looked better. That's when he turned his season around. And so I think it's very possible that Obi Toppin gets like to 22 minutes a game this year, especially because I think being intentional about Siakam's minutes is going to be important for the Pacers this year. That could certainly help him. Last year, Toppin had a career high in per 36 scoring, his second best rebounding season, his top assist season, right? He's clearly still growing. He was his age 26 season, 27, getting close to or in or at his prime, whatever you want to say. A lot of different statistical analysis pick different years there. I think it's possible that he makes a strong case in this award. And I was surprised. I get why McConnell is where he is. He obviously closed last year awesome, but he'll be 34 next year and was not the Pacers' best bench player at times last year, right? He's still very good and is an identity center for their bench and certainly will be in the mix for this, right? He got a ton of votes 2 years ago off the bench. If he's at that level again, yes, he's absolutely a guy that should get consideration for Sixth Man of the Year. 2 seasons ago, McConnell's finish was 7th in Sixth Man of the Year when he was at double-digit scoring and 5.5 assists per game. If he plays 18 minutes a night and does those stats again, yes, he will be in the mix, but his field goal percentage dropped 5% last year. His three-point percentage down 10%. We'll see where this goes for TJ McConnell, who certainly also has a case. But I thought Toppin was naturally the guy that I leaned to as having the best case with meaningful minutes incoming, chances to close games. He also had a good finals. His game 7 was not very good, obviously. And he fits a lot of the criteria that past sixth men have won. Stats and minutes could come his way. And that is typically what it takes for someone to win Sixth Man of the Year. And his scoring per 36 when playing with just him and Siakam is incredibly high, right? 70 points in 156 minutes last year is like over his career average in points per 36. It's lower than I expected, actually, but it's still quite nice. And his efficiency in those minutes is particularly strong. So if his usage is higher, which maybe isn't the case this year. Last year in his minutes with Siakam, he shot 73% on twos. That's crazy, but only 32% on threes. So we'll see where those balance out. Toppin for sixth man was my guess for the Pacers' best chance. Boy, oh boy, do the sports books disagree with me. Most improved player, the Pacers award, will it come back to Indianapolis this season? We have a lot of guys on that list to get to. Coming up here on Locked On Pacers. Before we dive into that, we need to talk about game time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day. You suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. Well, that is exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, and merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it all possible, and they make it easy to buy tickets simply and quickly. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. So many things that make them the best. They're the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for exciting MLB game tickets coming up. If you're tired of scrolling to find the best deal, they have zone deal picks that'll help you find seats in your section for you. The seat views are clutch, and you can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Or second listen, Locked On NBA. I topped in, subbing in for John Krause. It was me and Jake Madison talking about the latest and greatest from around the association. Still news all the time. The Raptors' direction with the new GM coming more clear. We talked about them. The Bulls, Nikola Vucevic doing an interview during Eurobasket about their direction. The Kings want Russell Westbrook, which I guess I get, but they want to trade Malik Monk to do it. What are the Kings doing? Well, if you want answers to these very confusing team questions, Locked On NBA with me and Jake Madison can be your second listen. Okay, let's keep going here. Most improved player. Naturally, this was the one I thought the Pacers have the second best odds on. Totally got it, right? I understand why completely. New situations for lots of guys, different minutes distributions for lots of guys. FanDuel right now, on the odds they offer for most improved player, Andrew Nembhard is first, number one, given odds for that award. That's not like a shocking thing to say. I shouldn't be surprised. Plus 900, he's first. Plus 1,200, Denny Avdia in second. Plus 1,500 in third. Ben Mathurin, 2 of the top 3 are Pacers. Whew. This should have been the one that I realized, but I didn't see it, right? Sportsbook favorite for Nembhard. Neesmith is on there. Huff, Jay Huff, they'll give you odds for. We'll talk about him specifically. Actually, maybe first. Obi Toppin, they'll give you odds for. Jarris Walker, they'll give you odds for. And they should. That makes a lot of sense. He's going to have a consistent role this year that won't be as different and changing as last year. So this probably, now that I've done with the research of like past winners, what it takes, all that, this is probably the award that Pacers actually have the best shot at, despite my gut thinking it'd be Toppin 6 man. So let's talk about it. Last year's winner, let's leapfrog off Dyson Daniels. to get into this conversation. Dyson Daniels wins in Atlanta. He gets traded from the Pelicans. He gets to the Hawks. And obviously he played way better. Like this isn't, I'm being reductive at first, right? Like start with that. He played a lot better. For any of these guys that we're going to talk about on the Pacers to win, they have to be a better player. Duh. That's the name of the award. He got an opportunity. Now you have to work through this backwards. He obviously played more minutes because he was playing better. It's not that just more minutes made him play better. But Dyson Daniels won last year. His minutes jumped by 11 per game, and a bunch of his stats went crazy, right? The specifically tough thing for some of the Pacers guys that we would talk about, Nembhard, Mathurin, Nesmith specifically, is that their minutes probably won't change that much. Now, how they're used in the Mathurins might go up 1 or 2. Nembhard's might go up a couple. But it's not going to be like 11 like Dyson Daniels last year. Maybe 2 or 3 for those guys. Now, how they're used will obviously be different, and we'll get to that because, of course, all those guys could win. I get why they're listed. Totally. I'm not saying what I'm saying to push them off of this. But the best chance on the Pacers to follow that Dyson Daniels pathway is obviously Jay Huff, right? Because he's coming from a different team where he was the backup at times behind Jaren Jackson and played behind Zach Edey, obviously. And he got mostly consistent minutes in and out at times of the rotation when Clark was available and stuff like that. Now he might start. And even if he comes off the bench, the guy in front of him would be coming off of an Achilles tear. And so there's a good chance Jay Huff's minutes go at least 5 per game up, right? And if they don't play any top end at the 5, like 6, 7, maybe 8 per game up for Jay Huff. So if he's good and he earns those minutes, that's going to look like the Daniels resume a little bit. But of course, it's the same thing where if he plays good, he'll play more. And if he doesn't play well, he won't. So obviously, Jay Huff has a chance to follow the formula of like, oh, more minutes, more chances to play well. All of a sudden, there's a ton of statistical production with it, and he's winning the award. And he's kind of at that he's on the older side of just like exploding off the page as an award winner here. This week, 3 days from now, me talking. So next Monday, Jay Huff will turn 27, right? Is that your traditional most improved player age winner? No. Is it never happened before? Absolutely not. Victor Oladipo got it at 25, and it's made me reconsider how I feel about player timelines for growth. It was his 5th season, right? So this is going to be Huff's 5th season. So Jay Huff fits that part of the criteria. Like even if he doesn't play awesome, like will be playing more than he ever has before. The rest of the guys certainly are going to change in that their usage is going to change dramatically. Nembhard has been at times, not all the time, obviously, or else this would be a different conversation, has been at times the dude when given the rock. The 2024 Eastern Conference Finals live rent-free in my head. He cooked Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was awesome that playoffs. He could not keep Andrew Nembhard from the cup. That has pretty much been the only time he did that with any sort of game-to-game consistency. Obviously, there have been incredible Andrew Nembhard games. The West Coast road trip of 2023, everybody remembers very well. Big playoff games all the time. Like, he's a good lead ball handler. He's shown that. But it hasn't been like every game, every night, over and over. And here's how I'll say that. Last season, Nembhard, in the games he played that Tyrese Haliburton did not play in at all, 90 points in 8 games. That's 11.25 points per game, right? Like, he will not win most improved player if he averages 11 points a game. 2 years ago, he averaged 12.5 points a game when Haliburton didn't play. That's still probably not enough, but it's still growth from where he was. Like, he hasn't really seized these chances in the regular season from a scoring perspective, and that's traditionally like a key stat that will help you get this award. Ben Mathurin last year in games without Haliburton, 16.3 points a game, pretty close to his normal average. 2 years ago, it was 13.2 when the Pacers offense was completely bananas. But we'll get to him in a second. Pascal Siakam last year in games without Haliburton, 16 points a game. 2 years ago, 21. I keep bringing up the 2 years ago part because the Pacers offense was so bananas that year that you can see that some growth for Siakam and Nembhard might just be that the Pacers offense was just better. So going back through those Mathurin and Nembhard numbers, those did not make it seem as like promising and obvious for them to just like walk into most improved without Haliburton, right? The Pacers are, as they've said for forever, very ecosystem-y. The whole system makes everybody work and look good. And so that's why the numbers don't look so drastically different without Haliburton. However, for them to be as good as possible this season without Tyrese Haliburton for 82 games, the ecosystem will have to operate differently. Duh, it does. Kyle Taylor and I did a whole show about this. So that's where, especially those top two guys, Nembhard and Mathurin, could make their cases, is that who cares about the past? That's just 8 games this season and 13 games this season without Tyrese Haliburton. Now it's 82, change of style, get more comfortable playing this way kind of stuff. Everybody, including me, expects Mathurin's usage to go up a lot. He's going to be an important scorer for the Pacers. His defensive assignments are going to be tougher. He believes in himself as a defender if he continues to improve his fit with the Pacers and if his scoring continues to be so impressive in one-on-one situations. And the Pacers can, of course, blend their game with his as well. It's on the team to do it as well. Yeah, he could win most improved, especially if his defense looks really good or his 3-ball looks really good or his decision-making is awesome. Could Nembhard get it? Absolutely. His defense is great. People expect him to do things next year after the playoffs he had. He's been awesome in this role before, and everybody's believed, including me, that in a lead ball handler role consistently, he could look really good. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Nesmith, I guess, could sneak in and do something here. Toppin, I guess, as well, for the case I made for 6th man. Jarris Walker's fascinating because if he's good this year, or he's playing a lot, yeah, of course, he could earn a ton of minutes and get a chance, because if he's playing well, he's the exact kind of guy in this kind of season the Pacers should just want to give endless minutes to. But I would say Nembhard and Mathurin most improved is actually the most likely Pacers trophy to hoist this season. They'll go down in the Danny Granger, Jermaine O'Neal, Victor Oladipo, Paul George award cabinet of most improved guys. I might be missing one. I think I am missing one. Lots of them for the Pacers. But that is actually the one that I think they have the best chance at. The historic numbers don't suggest those guys are going to put up as much numbers as before, but the context of the Pacers' big changes coming suggests that it's possible. A couple more to get to. Coach of the year, executive of the year, defensive player of the year, Cam Jones. Are you going to be the rookie? Let's close out today's Locked On Pacers with a few more much less likely ones, except for coach of the year, which is very possible. Back here on Locked On Pacers, thanks for making this your first listen today and every single day. Your second listen's got to be Locked On Kings. Matt George, help me. Why do the Kings want to dump Malik Monk to have Russell Westbrook? Malik Monk is better. I get it. The answer is salaries. It's always money. It's always salaries. That team's expensive, but that seems so weird. The Malik Monk stuff this whole offseason has felt so strange to me. It's a new front office, whatever. Matt George knows it way better than me. He covers the Kings. He lives in Sacramento. Go check that out. Okay. Coach of the year. Rick Carlisle. So here's the problem. This award has really become strange because it almost always ends up as a exceeded expectations award. And that's sometimes fine. Last year's winner was perfect to me. Kenny Atkinson won. The Cavs smashed expectations, and I thought Kenny Atkinson did a lot of tangible things that made the Cavs better and were like coaching, enhancing your team kind of things. It isn't just like you exceeded expectations, and obviously you have to have good coaching to exceed expectations, but like Joe Mazzulla could have won Coach of the Year last year, right? Mark Daniel could have won Coach of the Year last year. Those guys are awesome coaches. It's part of why their teams are so good, but they don't they were expected to be good, and they don't get I don't think they get the credit they deserve every year in these conversations, right? You still have to coach well for your team to be good, even if you have good talent. That said, if the Pacers win high 40s, low 50s in games this year, Rick Carlisle is getting a lot of us for Coach of the Year because of how it is. You exceed expectations. And in the Pacers case this year, that would require building or tweaking a system completely. And with resources that don't feature an All-NBA talent, building a good winning level team. And if they win 50-something games, I would bet some or many, or one guy takes a huge step forward, a good amount of development happens. That's on coaching as well. So if the Carlisle's path to Coach of the Year is actually probably cleaner this year than last year, because last year they're in that weird spot where it's like unless they win 60 games, they're not blowing past expectations enough for them to win, but they're still expected to be good. This year they're expected to be like mediocre. So if they're good, he'll get a lot more credit. This is actually a pretty good year for Carlisle to have a chance at that second one, but the Pacers, of course, have to be good for that to happen. I just dropped something on my desk, but like I think about Coach of the Year way differently than anybody else. Like I think Will Hardy's an awesome coach, and the Jazz always suck, but like you can see some young players who have crazy skill development there. Or like clearly they have an awesome system. I think Quinn Snyder's a great coach. The Hawks have not been awesome with him there yet. Whatever. I think Carlisle certainly got a shot at it. The Pacers extended him again because they believe he's a great coach and can get himself into these sort of mixes. Defensive player of the year. Not going to spend a ton of time on this. Andrew Nembhard's a great defender. He's going to be pulled off of, I think, some of those majors, not like all the time, but they can't have him be the lead ball handler all the time and be guarding those guys every play. I don't think he's going to win it because of that. Neesmith's also a talented defender, but not in the defensive player of the year realm. Miles Turner actually would have had the best odds of any Pacer, according to FanDuel. Obviously, he's not on the Pacers. Jackson Huff, no Pacers are even listed on the FanDuel odds. So, no, I don't think we have to talk about that. Cam Jones, rookie of the year. Taylor Peter. Look, maybe Cam Jones will be good. The problem is, unless a ton of injuries happen, which is actually possible, there's only 2 point guards on the roster right now. It's tricky. You got to play to win rookie of the year. And if the Pacers are trying to win, Cam Jones is just not going to play enough. Every single rookie of the year, except for one in the 1940s, which is just kind of irrelevant for this, has played A, at least 50 games, and B, 26 plus minutes per game. Right? I even if Cam Jones gets the games, getting to 26 minutes on this team feels, let's say, exceedingly unlikely. So even if he balls out, probably not happening. We did All-Stars. We did All-NBA. But I would say that the 3 guys in the mix, I don't know why I have these in my notes down here. Siakam, Mathurin, and Nembhard, certainly to me, would have the best chance. I actually did type clutch notes off to the side. It's so small sample. It's so finicky. It's such a stupid award. Like, the guy who wins is never in the mix the next year. Like, Haliburton would have been the favorite, obviously, after the playoffs he just had. But it's such like a small sample, like 2 plays every month are like influencing this award. Carlisle mentioned in his, I think, radio thing, I can't remember what this was. Maybe it was with Kalen, that Siakam and Nembhard are likely to be closers for this team. Mathurin obviously has had clutch moments for the Pacers before. He can get to the line. He's going to have the ball out late. Those guys are deep on the Siakam and Mathurin are deep on the FanDuel odds. So I suppose they could be in the mix for this as well. Executive of the year, Kevin Pritchard. Here's the problem with this. If this would take J Huff like masterclass season. That's pretty much the only way he'd be in the mix for this, because they didn't do a whole lot, right? Turner, not they didn't do a whole lot, like they sat on their hands, like they weren't in a position to do a whole lot. Turner left, J Huff in. They made draft picks. They made a good trade for a pick next year. Like, that's typically not the stuff that wins you executive of the year. Raphael Stone's not winning executive of the year last year because he traded for like Suns picks in the future, right? So, I don't know. I also think executive of the year last year specifically, I think Presti was the right winner, but I often think it's like moves that were made several seasons ago finally come together and look good or coalesce. And Pritchard could have that go for him, but I don't think any of the stuff he did this summer is going to not come into this conversation. But if Huff is awesome and Turner is like a pumpkin, yeah, maybe people will talk about it. More Cam Jones wins Rookie of the Year or something like that. The awards list, Fiend, that's all of them. Most improved player, back to the Pacers. I believe they still have or are tied for first in number of times they've won that, and that appears to be the most likely one, despite my null hypothesis entering this being Obi Toppin, 6 man would be the top odds on the board. Thank you all so much for listening today. Be back next week for more August Locked On Pacers stuff. Locked On Colts also exists, by the way, with NFL starting. If you're interested in that or didn't know that we have NFL shows on the network next week, just like we did with the Bucks on this, we'll do a Knicks and the Celtics show. Talking about the gap here, we'll do a Knicks show. Gavin Shaw and I chatted about the Pacers and the Knicks and things of that nature, where those teams are trending. I did a segment with Danny Cunningham of Locked On Cavs, so you'll hear that next week. I want to talk about James Wiseman next week. We've barely talked about him this offseason. I want to talk about free agent point guards. We're going to hear from Haliburton and TJ McConnell pretty soon. And one other show I want to get in there. I have to schedule it and get with the guest. But more fun stuff coming in August, and we'll be back to 5 days a week after Labor Day. So getting right back to it very soon. Thank you all so much for listening today. You can find me on social media at Tony Arias. This podcast has an Instagram and Twitter account at Locked On Pacers in both places. Thank you all so much for listening today. We will see you very soon.